Hello, calculus scholars. This is Mr. Benzel here, and today we're going to be talking about moving up a little bit with the power rule, kind of looking at a little bit harder versions of the power rule. So these type of situations, we're looking at polynomials that have like radicals, fractional exponents, and the like. So I like to kind of view this as how do you move up in the world of derivership. So here's some rules that you need to be comfortable with from Algebra 2. The first is that you need to be comfortable with a radical as a fractional exponent. So like if I have the square root of x to, or actually let's say like the beef root of x to the a, that's equal to x to the a over b. So for instance, if I have the cube root of x to the fourth, that's the same thing as x to the 4/3. So you need to be able to be comfortable to write radicals as fractional exponents. So this is sort of our general rule, and then here's a specific example. And likewise with the negative exponents. So if I have a situation like I have 1 over x to the a, this is equal to x to the negative a, or kind of a specific example here, if I have like 1 over x cubed, that would be 2x to the negative 3, or that would be x to the negative 3rd. And if I had, like, let's say 2 over x to the 5th, this would be equal to 2x to the negative 5th. And the reason why we can say that is that this is actually 2 times 1 over x to the 5th. And that gets you your 2x to the negative 5th. So a lot of times people struggle on those more difficult power rule examples just because they haven't totally gotten those like fractional exponents and negative exponents from those Algebra 2 days. A little bit of some tips here that you'll see. You want to make sure that you are writing radicals first as fractional exponents. You want to make sure that you are converting your denominator exponents into negative exponents. And then for fractional exponents, when you're doing the power rule, so like, let's say, for instance, that I am doing, for my f of x, let's say that I had f of x equals to x to the 5/3. And I want to find the derivative. So I have f prime of x. So you would move the 5/3 out in front, and you would do 5/3 minus 3/3, which is effectively just like subtracting by 1. And you would get that that would be equal to 5/3 times x to the 2/3. Let's look at a few examples now. All right, so we're going to start with something that just has a negative exponent. So I'm just going to write for this one y prime. And I got -4 times -5, so that's equal to +20. And you're subtracting 1 from -5, so you're actually getting more negative, so that would be 20x to the -6. And if it says no negative exponents, you write as 20 over x to the 6th. Now for this one on number 8, this is not written in a way that is very good for power rule. So you want to rewrite first as 3x to the negative cubed. So that way it's kind of like what you did for number 7. And then you write y prime is equal to negative 9x to the negative 4th. And if we want to kind of rid ourselves of having no negative exponents, I just write as negative 9 over x to the 4th. All right, and then number 9 here is a fractional exponent type of situation. So I would immediately, this is kind of written nicely for the product rule. So you have 2/3, and then I'm going to do x to the 2/3 minus 3/3. So that's going to get me to 2/3, and then I have x to the, let's see, 2 minus 3 is negative 1. And what you can actually do here, I would just kind of like take inventory of your numerator and denominator. So I got 2 over 3, and then the x to the negative 1/3, I would just put that in the denominator as a positive exponent. You could write this as like 2 over 3 times the cube root of x. Now, on pen and paper mastery assessment, so you want to kind of like make sure you're kind of looking at the directions on Delta Math. But on my pen and paper mastery assessments, you know, if you kind of got to this step, this showed me that you kind of understood the power rule. Now for number 10, this looks like a mess. So I would actually write this first as negative 2 x to the 1/4. So let's see. When I take the derivative now, so I have f prime of x, this would become negative 1/2, and then I have x to the 1/4 minus 4 over 4. So I would then have negative 1/2 x to the negative 3/4. So you could just write this as negative 1 over 2x to the 3/4. And if you wanted to kind of rid yourself of those fractional exponents altogether, remember the denominator of a fraction goes outside of a radical, x cubed goes inside, and there you would go. But if you got to this step over here, and I'm just going to put a star, you know, that tells me that you got it to the power rule on there. So what you're going to see on Delta Math on this next assignment that you're going to complete over the weekend is moving to the level of these fractional exponents and radicals. So just really be prepared for those and combinations of those on those harder power rule examples. But if you're able to do these pretty well, this is telling me that you are around the block with the derivers. So just continue getting practice and reviewing those fractional exponents and negative exponents.